Hello and welcome to Weather Talk.
We're here to get you caught up with the latest happenings in the weather. I'm Nick Rutkowski.
And I'm Blake Harms. We begin with a very wintry week across much of the Midwest.
And we turn first to Madison, Wisconsin, where the city got its first taste of winter Tuesday morning with a fresh blanket of snow on the ground. 3 inches fell in Madison on Monday night. This month is now the snowiest October since 1990 in Madison, and the third snowiest October since 1939. The all-time record is 5 inches in October of 1917.
Farther east, Waukesha County, Wisconsin also saw snowfall. Here's how their road crews prepared.
It's the calm before the storm.
It's never thinking ahead of time.
At TNT Ace Hardware in Waukesha.
It's like with snow falls, and it's like, get salt.
And worker Pat McElrath is expecting a doozy. Rows of neatly hung shovels and sidewalks of salt will soon fill with customers trying to get a head start on Tuesday's snow.
As soon as the sun goes down, people buy salt. It's like it has something to do with the sun.
For the Waukesha County Highway Department, snow means the sun is setting on another season. Last-minute construction and pothole filling along I-94 in Delafield is being done before the snow.
Too early.
Sidelines work for at least another week.
We're patching 94 with a liquid asphalt, filling in some of those potholes that are still giving us problems from last winter.
Highway Supervisor Rick Gillis says crews will be out starting at midnight to spray salt brine on overpasses and heavily traveled spots as needed.
It'll melt it off. In these temperatures, brine is perfect. It'll melt it right off.
This season's snowfall is hitting early. The average first day of measurable snow is typically November 13th. While December 2nd is the average first time we get 1 to 2 inches of snow, which is what Waukesha is expecting overnight.
It's going to be very slushy out there. You might think it's not bad, but then you'll come to an area like a bridge deck that might be a little slippery.
And while many people were preparing for Halloween, people in Colorado were digging out of weather usually seen during Christmas. Snow has covered parts of the state, creating issues for drivers. Alexis Dominguez has details.
The October storm brought winter weather to Fountain, causing vehicles to spin out or slide around the road. Plows taking to the street to try to keep up with the fast snowfall.
We kind of knew it was coming, so I was expecting it. I just didn't realize the driving conditions were going to be so bad.
Drivers like Alex Cruz forced to drive slower than usual.
I wouldn't suggest going outside. It's really bad. Just drive slow, under speed limit.
But not everyone is being as precautious as others.
I'd say snow-packed and icy. Some people are well prepared for it. Others fly by you like there's no concern. That's not very smart.
Some people hoping the snowpack will help with the upcoming fire season.
I'm just fine with it. It's Colorado, so I'm glad to have the moisture because eventually we'll be going, oh, I wish we had the moisture.
Several inches of snow already on the ground and more expected. Drivers say they're doing everything to prepare.
Backed out, and I'd gone out and shoveled everything, so it was an easy break from the house, but I could imagine what it's like out on the interstate.
But Fountain wasn't the only part of southern Colorado to see several inches of snow. People could be seen in Colorado Springs early Monday morning shoveling snow off the sidewalks, leaving some people wondering if this is just the beginning of a heavy snow season.
And while we've been sharing stories of snowfall in other states, Northwest Indiana is getting in on the wintry conditions today. Blake, how does it look out there?
Well, Nick, it's certainly snowy. Visibility is under a mile here at Valparaiso University. Heavy snow, and as we look, also at 65 down at 61st Street in Hope. Very low visibilities here on the freeways. Fortunately, it's starting to collect on the grass, but not so much on the roadways. So these surface temperatures are well into the 40s, so it's really going to take a lot of snow for that to accumulate on the grassy surfaces, let alone on any roadways. Looking at radar right now, you can see the last of the snow is beginning to finally push out of Porter County. One last push here. Most of the heavy rain and snow has moved off to our east for the most part. Looking regionally, this is all part of a large system that's pushing its way to the northeast. We've been seeing rain or snow most of the day today. That's going to finally wind down here in the next few hours. Weather advisory in effect for much of Chicagoland, also off to our northeast. For us, though, it's a wind advisory that's in effect through late tonight, and we also have a lakeshore flood warning as well. Lakeshore flood watches and warnings all the way up and down the coastline. Waves here in Porter County were expected to reach 12 to 16 feet, so a very choppy day out there on the lakeshore. Temperatures right now, 35 in Valpo, 34 in Gary, 32 in Romeoville. We're reaching that freezing mark here off to the west. You're going to have to watch for some slick spots on the roads. Wind chills, we're in the 20s, 26 in Valparaiso, 22 in Lansing, below 20 there in DeKalb. So very cool day outside today. As we time through our future radar, notice most of that snow pushes out of here by mid-evening. And so do the clouds. By overnight tonight, we'll start the day tomorrow with plenty of sunshine. The clouds will begin to build back in throughout much of the afternoon. Looking at tomorrow evening, we could brief rain showers move in the overnight hours Friday into Saturday. Should avoid any major snowfall. And as we head throughout the day on Saturday, could see a few more mixed showers. In terms of visibility, notice how drastically they increase after this last snow pushes out. We see visibilities again close to 10 miles by late tonight. Future snowfall, perhaps another half inch. This might be a bit aggressive as that snow is finally pushing out. Notice the shadow there where the winds are coming off the lake. That's warming up the air around this region. That's why most of that's going to be snow in this region. Most of the snow accumulation tonight is going to occur off to our northeast. For tomorrow, we begin the day cool but sunny, 28 degrees. Temperatures in the upper 20s. As we head throughout the day, we'll see increasing clouds, but we'll also get up to the low to mid 40s. And for that forecast, no more snow in sight. In fact, very little precipitation, just a few small chances of rain. We warm back 50 early next week. Otherwise, yeah, today's the most active day out of our next 7. Fortunately, we're not going to be seeing any major snowfall accumulation, which is certainly good news because I know a lot of folks weren't terribly happy to see the snowfall here today. And, we were walking back earlier and just that messy ice pellet, wind, rain mix. It's pretty terrible.
Well, not right now anymore. It's more just snow,
That's
which
true.
I like more. I don't know what you like. You're from Grand Rapids, so you probably love your.
I don't know what
little
that means, but yeah,
you love your lake effect snow.
Yeah,
you love your lake
that's
effect
fair.
snow.
Yes, I do. And those ice pellets are just awful.
Oh no, they really are. You can't walk in them.
Yeah, so it's been nice to transition over. And one note from one of the stories we did earlier, Madison, Wisconsin, it's actually had 5 straight days of more an inch or more of snow in a row, which is only the 3rd time that's ever happened in any month of the year. So pretty cold start to winter here in the Midwest.
We'll see if it lasts. It doesn't look like it from your 7-day forecast, but who knows when it'll come back around.
Yeah, it looks like the first few weeks in November could be a bit cooler than average, so we'll have to see how that pans out and if we can get that lake effect cranking here in the next few weeks. Farther west, high winds will continue to be a headache for California officials as they work to fight the wildfires burning in the state, with more than 26 million people under red flag warnings from California to Arizona. Valparaiso Cameron was in California's Napa Valley.
The Golden State is gray with fire smoke, and as the winds pick up again, all of California seems to be on edge.
It's a tale of 2 regions, northern and southern California. The Kincaid Fire and the Getty Fire, both unpredictable, both terrifying, both forcing people to flee.
Oh my God, I'm so scared.
Leaving once populated neighborhoods free from signs of life. What's still to come?
The danger has not passed yet, and we continue to monitor the situation.
Wind gusts up to 65 miles per hour in the north and as high as 80 miles per hour in the south.
Those can pick up and transfer the fire miles away sometimes.
Windy, dry conditions fueling flames, but threatening lives in much different ways. Up north, it's in wine country. To the eyes of firefighters, here's the Kincaid Fire's flames surrounding them. Down south, highly populated Los Angeles County has already seen homes turn to ashes. Evacuation orders continuing, with officials across the state sending out even stronger warnings.
Be prepared to go at a moment's notice.
And here in Sonoma County, where you can see behind me, this ranch was a loss. They are bracing for winds that they think could reach up to 65 miles per hour. Reporting from Calistoga, I'm Paul Verkaman.
Meanwhile, hundreds of fires continue to blaze across California as firefighters work throughout the state to contain the flames. But officials say despite the conditions, things may be looking up. Daryl Forges was in Ventura County where hurricane-force winds have fueled the infernos, threatening homes and forcing thousands of evacuations.
Homes right behind me, as you could see, covered with fire retardant because of the fires here in Ventura County. But there's another fire happening just 100 miles southeast of us in San Bernardino. I'm going to go and show you that video right now of what's happening in San Bernardino, California. That fire is called the Hillside Fire. And right now, people in that area are going through mandatory evacuations, and several homes are on fire. And The fire is fast moving, covering 200 acres. Fires across California continue to rage overnight. Wildfires burning for days, still spreading, while new infernos sprung up on Wednesday, but progress is being made.
The winds that we were talking about yesterday did not materialize to the extremes that we were fearful of. There's a lot of optimism that we have turned the corner for the better on this fire.
Officials warn residents to be cautious. However, though the winds in Northern California are settling, the threat of fire remains.
We are remaining in a very dry air mass over the next several days, even into next week. So keep that in mind. Even though this is the end of the wind event, we are expecting to see those continued dry conditions over several days.
In Southern California,
these winds are not helping.
19 million residents remain under a rare extreme red flag warning as hurricane-force winds have fueled several fires and prompted thousands of evacuations.
I'm not scared, but my husband and daughter, they're packed and ready to go. I'm kind of keeping an eye so I can let them know if it jumps the street and goes into the houses, because that's where we live, and it's the wind is directly aiming at our house.
Fortunately, residents can begin to breathe a sigh of relief as the winds will lighten up heading into the weekend. And those wind speeds reach as high as 74 miles per hour in some areas. The biggest hope is for those wind speeds to calm down sometime this afternoon. In Ventura County, Daryl Forgis, back to you.
So not only are these just giant wildfires, but you always have to worry about the spot fires that come from it. I've been watching a lot of it going on, and you can just see spot fires just pop up from anywhere because those winds just drag them down.
Yeah, just these strong winds, and all it takes is a spark. I know, a lot of folks have been upset with the power companies shutting down power to all these people, but that's what started, I believe, the Paradise Fire.
Yes, that started that one, and there was a couple other fires. There was a video, I don't know where it was from, but I saw the sparks start the fire, and it was like, oh wow, someone actually captured that, and that's what's been causing it. So the power companies have the liability to make people lose their power because it benefits the firefighters, benefits those that could be in the fire danger.
And it's a lose-lose because you have a lot of folks who are upset. They don't have some of those essential services they need that provided by the power, but they've been opening up shelters or whatnot for those folks. So.
But even then, when the winds go down, they turn the power back on, but when the winds come back up, they turn the power off. So it's not like it's a continuous streak of, oh, I'm out of power for weeks on end. It's, oh, if the winds die down, the power's going to come back on since the fire threat's going down as well.
Yeah, some of those most intimidating videos are folks driving through it, trying to get out, where you have fire on both sides. And
it's kind of exhilarating, I would say, but it's also very scary.
Yeah, I can imagine. And also, one other thing is that Ronald Reagan Presidential Library that came pretty close to the fire.
I was watching that. I was like, that was getting really, really close, but luckily the fires did evade.
It sounds like the saving grace was actually goats that eat the grasses around there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that stopped the fire from spreading to there. So,
who would have
yeah,
thought?
Just, it seems like the past few years here in California have been brutal for fires.
They really have. It's been a journey for them because Napa got it a couple years ago really good, and now they're not too dangerous right now, but they're getting to that point where people are starting to really worry, when is this going to end for them, even though it's just the start of the drought season.
Right. Fortunately, it seems like firefighters are starting to contain the blazes a little bit more.
Yes, that's good.
Well, let's turn to our 3-story index of weather happenings from around the country in the past week.
We begin in our home state of Michigan, where a strange object fell from the sky over the weekend. Samsung says its space selfie balloon landed in someone's yard in Gratiot County on Saturday morning. Last week, Samsung Europe launched a space selfie, a high-altitude balloon and solar-powered machine into the stratosphere, not to space. But while Samsung planned for the device to touch back on Earth with the help of its balloon component, things didn't go quite as planned. In a statement, a Samsung spokesperson said, quote, "During the planned descent, weather conditions resulted in an early soft landing in a selected rural area. No injuries occurred and the balloon was retrieved."
Well, further south, the damage across Louisiana from Tropical Storm Olga over the weekend flew under the radar. Fox 8 in New Orleans details the impacts from the cyclone.
This is suck. I mean, I can't watch the news or nothing. Look at that.
Kenner resident Sheila Jones points to a mess of branches and limbs.
They lucky that whole thing didn't come down. Because this is an old tree.
Jones says she and her neighbors lost power at around 8 Saturday morning, hours after Olga came through overnight.
The wind got real bad, and you can see that I looked out the window, the trees was blowing real bad, and it just looked bad out here. Just everything, it was looking bad and sounding bad out here, so I knew something was gonna happen.
Both Jones and the residents on the other side of the downed lines asked Entergy to address them.
We want to get some energy so we can get some heat in this house. You know, so tonight we ain't freezing.
We got a lot of work to do.
As of 8:30 Saturday night, more than 16,000 residents in the New Orleans metro area were still without power. But that's down from nearly 30,000 midday.
We have a lot of broken poles, and those poles, due to some of the trees and some of the high winds that we experience, sometimes it's quite difficult to get those things back up and running.
Entergy crews worked to remove and replace a damaged power pole on Kenner Avenue near the airport. Similar scenes taking place in affected areas throughout the state, as officials estimate the number of down or damaged poles to be in the hundreds.
A couple broken poles that snapped right in half.
David Johnson is Entergy Louisiana's Vice President of Customer Service. He says the 800 men and women on the ground are working as quickly as is safely possible, first focusing on emergency services, hospitals, and large-scale outages.
We're going to work today and throughout the day tomorrow. We're going to work until every single customer is back up and running.
Meanwhile, dark signals snarled traffic. The power outage also forced many businesses to delay opening.
We're about to open soon, though. The lights just came back on.
That's a long time to wait if you're hungry. I could be dead now.
As cooler weather sets in,
We're born crash.
These Kenner residents tried to make the best of their powerless situation.
It's getting cold in my house already. So I don't know what we're gonna do back here. We're just gonna have to, thank God ain't nobody got killed or nothing, It could have been worse than that.
And this sloppy Halloween storm is wreaking havoc on trick-or-treating plans across the U.S., with rain in the forecast for parts of New Hampshire on Halloween. At least 12 communities across the state are delaying trick-or-treating. The city of Nashua rescheduled to Saturday, and many other towns do the same. Mike Cronin has more from Salem.
The frights of Halloween are upon us. If you want a good scare this year, Seed Street in Salem is the place to be.
We just try to make it fun for the kids. A lot of people don't even put their lights on anymore for the trick-or-treaters.
Because of potential rain on Thursday, the town is delaying trick-or-treating to Saturday night. The Saracens hope to get a big crowd.
Maybe even more because it's on a weekend now.
Salem is one of at least a dozen communities in New Hampshire to postpone trick-or-treating.
The area chiefs actually spoke together, and they're the ones that pretty much designate when Halloween is going to take place. So you have Hudson, Salem, Windham, and Pelham all have moved to Saturday night.
Safety is driving that decision.
Come Thursday night, the rain's going to be coming down. There's going to be wind. We don't want tree limbs coming down. Obviously, we don't want visibility issues when you have kids out in the neighborhoods.
Pelham police are also collecting candy donations. Neighbors on Blueberry Circle are offering treats Saturday night at the end of their driveways for anyone with mobility issues.
We'll also set up a police cruiser, and we'll be giving out candy as well. I think the officer's going to dress up.
Whether celebrating Thursday or this weekend, officials want people to be careful and have fun.
And yeah, there are several communities around here who have also delayed trick-or-treating to Friday or Saturday just because they don't want kids out in this nasty weather.
I would go out in it, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of takes away from the tradition a little bit of...
Yeah, it does. But then again, Halloween, I don't really like it on the weekdays either because you have school the next day. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can show off your friends all the candy you got when you were in elementary school and even middle school. I went out till I was, I think, in 8th grade. I was trick-or-treating, maybe even 9th grade. I want to say 9th grade, but I think it was 8th grade. But I always loved, if it was on a Friday or Saturday, it was like... Yeah. I get to eat candy all night now because I don't have to go to school tomorrow. So.
Well, and there's been an argument as to whether or not to move Halloween to that last Saturday in October. Not that it makes a difference weather-wise, but yeah, it gives kids that option. But it's been a nasty few Halloweens here for us across the Midwest.
Yeah, it really has.
Cold. I mean, this is the first I think we've had in a few years with snow, but.
I think that 4 years ago was snow. I don't even think it was this region. I think it was a little bit northwest. But even then, it's just snow on Halloween is not the best. But
can't show off your full costume. Kids have
I mean, you can, just it will come at a very strong risk.
That's true, yeah. Gotta dress up as a snow shoveler.
Snow shovel?
Yeah.
Or Frosty.
Frosty, too.
Frosty the snowman.
Yeah. Frosty with a snow shovel. Who knows? Well, that'll just about do it for us here on Weather Talk.
Thanks for joining us as we recap weather headlines from across the country over the past week. I'm Nick Rutkowski.
And I'm Blake Harms, and we'll see you next time on Weather Talk.